All right, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today, I got a pretty ominous video to go over here. Now, if you guys have been keeping up with the news, you will realize our federal law enforcement agency is now being used as basically stormtroopers for the left, along with the alphabet agencies who, from the info I'm getting, are now starting to point their tools inward to go after U.S. citizens. Before, they were used to find out what was going outside the United States, and that is no longer the case, unfortunately. You're really not going to get a lot of information about what I'm going to talk about from the Western news outlets out there because they don't want it known. Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm reading this book, and it quite possibly is the best book ever written because I'm in it! Winning! If you want to know the rate of return on dating women, you need to buy the Book of Numbers. There's a link in the description, down there in the penis area. Meet Gazer! Alright, now, we live in a society which is very much dominated by technology. Used to be desktops, and then it was laptops, and now it is cell phones. And those screens on the cell phones and the guts that make those work have got nothing but more complicated as time has gone by. In fact, there's a lot of people out there, the younger generation, they don't even have a desktop or a laptop. They do everything they need to do on their telephone, to include homework, college work, what have you. It is absolutely crazy. All right, now, starting roughly in 2016, the Israeli army, which has a very complicated branch of soldiers that do electronic warfare for them. And they recruit basically from the smarter pools of individuals who have to go into the service because it's mandatory there for 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure. Dang, don't hold me to that one. I know they have a mandatory service, but I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years. Well, they're surrounded by enemies. Those enemies use mainly cell phones. So in 2016, the Israeli army developed a very dangerous piece of software that most of us know today as the Pegasus software. All right, now I'm going to go into, the details of what happened to it after the Israeli intelligence got their hands on it and so forth, and the next board, and then how to defend against it to some minor extent because it's very complicated. So we're going to go over exactly what it is. Okay, mainly this is used against iPhones and Android devices. There are copies out there that go over BlackBerry and other platforms which aren't as common, and it can be used to attack, desktop and laptop computers. There's versions for everything, and they only require minor tweaks. It's kind of scary, but that's the nature of the beast here. And it's done with a complete jailbreak of your phone. Now, what I mean by that is this software will get on your phone, and you literally have no privacy for virtually any system in that phone. And we'll go into detail about it, okay? And this is usually done... they can send you a link that you don't recognize from somebody that you don't really trust. And they now have a way of doing a text message to you coming from someone that you know to get you to click on the link, and it downloads and infects your entire system. All right, now they've improved it where they don't even need that. They simply call your phone. You don't even have to answer it. It could come from an unknown number or somebody you recognize, or even a sales call. You don't answer it, doesn't matter. Boom, they have access to your phone, and let the games begin. All right, now people are like, well, what exactly can this software do? I don't do anything illegal, so, I really don't have anything to worry about. Okay, now I'm going to explain this. Every single person in the United States, if they kick your door and search your house and search your what have yous, they can find something to put you in jail for up to, a minimum of 2 to 5 years, up to life. And a lot of people don't even know this. There are so many federal and state laws floating around out there. Most people don't even know this. So this is very dangerous to the average person. And this is specifically dangerous to the individuals out there who are setting up prepper groups. Technically, there's nothing illegal about that, but it is now on the radar as a threat to national security. So, the alphabet agencies in America and the Western world are going to go after the organizers and leaders of these things, myself included. All right, now, when they get access to your phone, it is a given with a basically 99% certainty that they got all your passwords. And if you link that cell phone to your Mac device, like your laptop or desktop or your Microsoft desktop, even Google, what have you, they have everything. Everything. They got your contacts. Okay, now this is important because when they're building a contact tree on you, they basically put you in the middle of a flow chart, and then they start drawing lines to people you talk to on a regular basis, and so on and so on, and they can figure out all kinds of crazy shit. And even if you're not doing anything, illegal, they only need suspicion, they roll you up. Most of the time they're going to charge you with a laundry list of bullshit, and you're going to have to you'll probably take a plea. Like I said before in a lot of my past videos, this is a roundabout way to deny you of your constitutional rights. And virtually every prosecutor in the nation does this. The judges support it. And this is one of the main reasons why everyone's against the police now. And the police are rapidly losing support from the right. And once that happens, they're royally fucked. That's a side issue. All right, now, I don't really put anything in my calendar, not on my phone, not on my contacts, not on my laptop or desktops. I have a paper calendar, and I write it in there if it's really important. They have all your text messages, all right? Bar none. They got them all, all right? Now you're like, hey, look, if I have Signal or some of those other text messages, I'm safe, right? No. I'll get to that in a moment. They can hear your conversations on your phone in real time. All right, now it's up in the air if they can record these and have them downloaded later. I haven't read anything on that, but since this whole laundry list of shit is going on and they have access to the memory of your phone, I would have to say yes, that's also an option. They have access to your camera. They have access to your VPN and your microphone attached to that camera. So even if you turn your phone off, you throw it down on the counter, and you go about your business, that phone could still be listening to you and you don't even know it. You're not Superman. You don't have his super ears to hear if it's doing something or not. Okay, same thing goes with the GPS. You can turn the phone off. They still ping you, find out wherever you are, wherever you're traveling, and so forth. In fact, there's another tool they have. If they have access to your car, they can download virtually everywhere that car goes, because most cars have some type of either tracking software built in, especially if it's a newer car and you have OnStar. Even if you don't activate OnStar and take a subscription to it, it's still pinging your phone, especially if one of the alphabet agencies decide you're a person of interest. That is a given. All right, that's another side note. Now, you're talking encrypted text. The way the program works, it gets between, it worms its way in the code of your phone between your keyboard and the texting app, and it basically keylogs all of your shit, and then that gets sent, through your phone without your knowledge. They know exactly what's going on. All right, your memory in your card, in your phone. All right, now I myself usually keep a maximum amount of memory in my phone, 250 some odd gigabytes. Do I use that much? No. All right, there is a certain amount of memory built into your phone. I hardly even use that either. So if you guys are thinking you could scan the memory and see if you could find that, it's very hard. They've covered their tracks. And even to this day, with this thing being 5 years old, it is still very hard to detect it. We'll talk how to do that and some steps you can use to avoid it in the future. It's almost virtually undetectable. You can look at all the systems in your phone and so forth, and you're probably not going to find it unless you have an original baseline of what your phone does as soon as you turn it on for the first time. The program has a self-destruct feature, so whoever put it on your phone, they access it, say uninstall, it disappears from your phone, and here's the most insidious part. It leaves no trace behind. So you have a computer program that can get into your phone at will. You have no idea how to detect it. Even if you could detect it, it's very difficult. And if you tip your hand that you know it's on your phone, it's uninstalled and it doesn't leave a trace. It's pretty scary, right? And you would be correct. Now we're going to go into the flow chart of exactly who invented this and what happened after it was invented by the Israelis. Next board. All right, over here you have basically the Pegasus being created in 2016. And an NSO group in Israel did it. Israel has a bunch of shell companies and so forth, and they're in the business of making money, even though they're cutting their own throat while they do it. So there are reports out there that this program later on was sold to the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and various Gulf states. All right, now I'm going to tell you honestly here. There is absolutely no way you are going to sell a weapon to one of the Muslim states. They can look you in the eye and say, yeah, we're going to just use this for ourselves. We swear we'll never do anything with it. It is built into their Quran that is perfectly acceptable to lie and break deals with anyone not of their particular faith. For instance, in Afghanistan, when Russia was doing their deal down there, we sold SA-7s and Stingers to the Mujahideen. Now, I know for a fact in 2004, when I was in Iraq, SA-7 missiles and some of the older versions of the Stinger missile were fired at aircrafts. Now, in our particular case, those missiles malfunctioned because they weren't stored correctly and they were incredibly old at the time. And basically a lot of the internals in the warheads and the guiding structures within those warheads failed. Luckily for us. But it just proves the point that you cannot give them any weapon whatsoever to anyone in the Muslim world, because everyone will have it in a matter of time. It could be 1 year, 10 years. It doesn't matter. Now, in this case, since it was widely distributed, it's virtually everywhere now. All right. So once the Gulf states get this, it's in the Muslim world. And a lot of the smaller Muslim nations don't have a big defense budget. What they do, though, what they do have are hackers. You don't have to pay them as much. Maybe you do. I don't know how they set it up. But now it's in the hacker world. And once they get on it, what are they going to do? They want to make money. So along the way, it was sold to Russia, and then it went to the hackers in the West. And, once Russia gets it, Russian hackers have it, and the satellite state hackers who are around Russia. Now, we've had a ransomware attack on our own pipeline. Gee, I wonder what they used to get inside the system and royally fuck us in the ass. And what other systems in our nation are vulnerable to this particular bullshit? All right. Now, of course, since we give so much money to Israel for their defense budget, it's a guaranteed lock that this went over to the United States and is in the hands of the alphabet agencies. I can say that with roughly 90 to 95% certainty. All right, don't ask me how I know that. I can't really, I'm not going to give up my sources, but that's the case. Now, the alphabet agencies here in the United States work hand in hand with big tech. I'm sure they've put a boot on the neck of all of the antivirus firms that operate within the Western world and the United States. So you really can't count on them to scan and find this software if it's in your desktops or laptops or in your phone. In fact, I can almost guarantee you won't find it. Now, since it's been out there roughly since 2017, and it's in the hackers, the price has gone down quite a bit. And I can honestly say that those guys are some tricky bastards, and I'm sure they took that code and they ran with it, and they basically rewrote it so it would find any number of vulnerabilities, and it could do any number of things that I don't even know about. It's pretty terrifying. Now, in 2017, this particular software was detected by the Citizen Labs out of Canada. They have an office, I believe, in Toronto. And then there was another group called the Electronic Frontier Foundation that studied it and found out a lot of the shit that it does here. It's kind of scary. Now, you can go to their websites and you can, each one of these, and you can do your own research. I have. And even to this day, they haven't mentioned really any antiviruses programs that address this specifically. I'm still researching this. If I come across anything, I will definitely give it to you. Now, what can we take away from this fiasco of bullshit that they're using against pretty much everyone on the planet? And I can almost guarantee China is going crazy with this. Because they have a boot on the neck of virtually everyone within their sphere of influence. And I can probably assume that that goes with a lot of the individuals in our own government. I'm sure their electronic devices have this in there, and it's been installed by both our government and the CCP. Because in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, 95% of the people up there in the federal government are basically traitors. At worst, at best, they are guilty of sedition. But that's another video, and I will address that another time. Now you guys are like, Pop, oh my God, this sounds so terrible. What can I do? Okay, I'm gonna give you a few pointers here. All right, there's basic and there's advanced pointers. Number one, keep your equipment up to date. Okay, if you get an older system and it's got older software on there and you update your system, you could trip it up if they're updating it to find this particular program running in the background. I don't really know if that's the case. This is just what I got off of these two websites, okay, and how to protect yourself. All right. Number two, don't open unknown shit. All right. If they're using an older version, they're going to send you a link. And if you click on it, boom, it's in your phone. Now, another aspect of this particular program, when it's used by, say, the alphabet agencies, they have access to all of the servers that monitor cell phones in the United States. That's a given. So does your state police and your local police, your city and county, and then even your sheriffs have to contact, either a federal agency, or they have an agreement with the different states for the state police to access those servers. Like I said before, I'm studying the antivirus. It's still under investigation. If there's anything out there that can defend against it, I'm assuming maybe sooner or later something's going to come up, but it's going to be done by a country outside the United States, because I'm pretty sure they got the kibosh on all of that shit here in the States. Now, the TTPs on this, on how to circumvent this using simpler technologies and procedures, I'm going to go in more depth when I do administrative violence. That is a section in that webinar that Blake and I are putting together to get out in a couple months. So I can't go into it here. Now, for the advanced people out there, there are ways that you can detect this. Say you have a phone that you've had for a while, you don't have the baseline, and you want to change phones. You get another phone, get a number for it, get yourself a copy of Kali Linux. You can get sniffers and antennas, which you can buy on Amazon. Well, you can buy the antennas on Amazon. You can download Kali Linux, I think, for free. You just have to know how to do Linux. You hook up the antennas, you put your phone next to it, and you let it run for a couple days. And you will get a baseline for an untampered with phone, if it's the same model as yours. How often that's contacting the local servers, what are the size of any information packets going back and forth. Now, if it's a brand new phone, and it really shouldn't be that big. The phone that you have, you put that on the sniffer, and if it's doing crazy stuff, you will see suspicious IP addresses. Most of us have access to IP address locator software, or there are tools on the open web or even on the dark web that you can use. Now, if it's an alphabet agency and they have access to the servers that are attached to the big cell phone providers, you're not going to see anything there. What you will see is the size of the packets that are being sent forward. For instance, if they have access to your memory and your microphone is on and it's going for an extended period of time, it's going to have a very big audio file. 2 a.m. when you're asleep and they can detect your phone is plugged into the charger, all of a sudden, bada boom, bada bing, it's contacting a local server and you are uploading a lot of data. Okay, another thing you can do is if you are on a data plan, and you could go in and check your data usage. If there was a big chunk of data that went up while you were asleep and you check in the morning and that isn't showing up on your data plan, you've been infected with digital VD and you need to take steps to unfuck yourself. Just saying. All right, now another thing you can do for the advanced detection is when you have your baseline phone and you can actually track how much energy that phone is using. And if you have, you say you transfer your number to another phone and you don't go crazy with the apps and you use it for a little while and they reinfect that phone, you just check and see the power usage. You will see discrepancies in the power usage if they haven't doinked around with that. From what I understand, and a lot of the older programs, they don't do that. So there's a way you can do that. All right. It does require investigations and so forth. And another thing is, if you're doing the sniffer, you just look for shit that's out of the ordinary. Period. All right. If your phone doesn't do it when it's a baseline and now it's doing it, all right, you got some craziness going on. And another side note, as this thing has come down the list, a lot of the individuals in the hacker world do not have access to the servers that manage the Wi-Fi cell towers and so forth. So what they can do is they have a device they can put in a van or a car. They can basically park it anywhere within a half a mile of your home and use a sniffer and pick up all your traffic from your phone, which has already been infiltrated by a hacker, and now they have all of your shit. Now, that's a criminal element there. Those guys are really sophisticated. I'm just saying, craziness will ensue. Watch your ass. And please, if you're a member of Popp's Preppers, take this video and share it with as many people as you can, because this shit has been going on since 2016 and I haven't seen fuck all for stories in the Western press. I literally had to watch something similar there that talked about this on Al Jazeera. What the fuck? What is that telling you? The government is not on your side. Take it easy, gentlemen. I'm out of here.